Hey there, what's up, good people? Just gonna give you my take on this Kyrie Irving thing and this Kanye West thing. It's a lot of mistruths and stuff going on out there, so I just want to just give my quick take on there. Just got out the jacuzzi, just relaxing, man. I just want to just say some things. This is the whole meat of this whole thing of the reason why a lot of people don't understand what he was saying, what was said, and why they are attacking him. And it's just a couple things. And once you see these things that are against certain people in this earth, then you'll understand. But one of them is, it says in Psalms 83, it says, keep not silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. This is what this whole thing is about. It says, cut them off from being the nation. It says, they have come and let us cut them off from being a nation, a people, a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. The true name, the true people. They're cutting them off. It says we will have crafty counsel against them. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They, a whole bunch of countries and a whole bunch of people, these bloodlines that we're going to get into. It says they have consulted together with one consent that they are confederate against thee. This is what's wrong with all the churches and with all the pastors. They don't know how to tie. We wonder what's wrong with our neighborhoods and what's wrong with our people right now. This is the reason, because we have no connection, no heritage, and we don't even know who we are. This is the reason why people are acting crazy and our communities are acting crazy, because they have no tie to the Most High. They don't even know that this thing is about them. And I'm not saying just this book. I'm talking about history. I'm talking about thousands of years. I'm talking about tens of thousands of years. I'm talking about land. I'm talking about property. I'm talking about everything that happened in this earth. We don't understand that it was always about us, and they have taken crafty counsel against us to take it away from us, to hide it, so we will never ever be able to connect and ever be able to know who we are. This is the reason why. Why haven't our churches and why haven't our pastors taught us this? Why have they never brought us back to the beginning and connected us back to this book? And I mean historically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and physically. Why have they never not drawn the bloodlines back and connected you back to this book and connected you back? This is the reason why our communities are the way they are. This is the reason. It says they have consulted together with one consent, and they are confederate against thee. That means they all came together. They came together. The tabernacle of Edom and Ishmael and the Moabites and the Hagarites. They go through all these names all the way down here. Read the whole thing. They go through all these things to understand who is against you. Who are these people? Who is Edom? Who is the Ishmaelites? Who's Moab? Who's is the Hagarenes? Who's Gabal? Who's Ammon? Who's Amalek? Who's the Philistines? Who's the inhabitants of Tyre? Who are these people that are conspiring against us? Who are these people? Asher also joined with them. And who are the children of Lot? Do unto them as the Midianites. So he said, who are these people? So when we go into these things, this is the thing. Was Kanye right? Was he right on this thing? Was he right? It seems like it is. Because the people that are behind your media and behind your newspapers and behind your music and behind your cable visions and all in cable TVs and every media outlet, the newspapers, magazines, are owned by a certain demographic. So was he right? Kanye just looked like a fool because he wasn't articulate in the way he was trying to explain it. But Kyrie's articulate in the way he was doing this thing. Why is it so wrong that Negroes can't be Hebrews? What, black people aren't good enough to be the Hebrews? Black people aren't good enough to be God's children? See, a lot of people don't understand after the flood, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. They don't understand. We don't know that there was a difference between melanated people that the Africans are not the Negroes. When you go into the Zondervan dictionary, it tells you who the two people are. It says Ham was the progenitor of the black races, but not the Negroes. This is the reason why they gave you all these different names. This is the reason why they gave you all these different titles. Black, Negro, African American, colored. This is the reason why they did this. It's to cut you off that Israel will never ever be mentioned again. The true Israel won't be. They wanted to cut you off from your heritage. This is what this whole thing was about. What's your name? My name is Kunta Kinte. No, your name is Toby. They changed your name. When you came over here, they changed your name. They took your name. They took your heritage and changed your first and last name. So you was completely cut off. This is the reason why our communities are the way they are, because we don't know how to tie this thing back. We don't know how to tell people who they are. We don't know how to show them. And then we wonder why people are acting the way they're acting, and why we see our communities the way they are. That we are just hopeless, just wandering, a bunch of vagabonds, have no clue where we're going next. No inheritance that we can leave our children and our children's children. This is the reason why this is happening. Because we don't know. And the only thing Kyrie's trying to do is open your eyes. Start researching this thing. Start looking at this thing. Hebrews to Negroes. Look it up. Look this thing up. Why is it so wrong that black people are Hebrews? That he's trying to tell you, we Hebrews, why can't we be Jews? Why is it so wrong that they're saying that? What are they trying to cover up? Do you have a monopoly on God's people? So you're the one that you can say who's God's people, who's not God's people. You're the one that can say who was created in his image and not created in his image. You got the right to say that to somebody else. Oh, you're not God's people. You're cursed. You're a Hamite. Nah. And truthfully, Ham wasn't cursed. It was his son that was cursed. Cush that was cursed. It wasn't Ham. It was Cush that was cursed. So when you go back and look at these bloodlines, then you'll see we are Shemites. So when Africans were selling other black people, they wasn't selling Africans. They were selling Negroes, the Igbo people, or a different race. They knew that they wasn't the same people because we didn't act the same. We didn't come from the same place. We came from a whole different region. This is the reason why they're covering it up. This is the reason why your communities are the way they are, because we can't tie anything back. Only thing they taught us in school that we was slaves. Our heritage starts from the 1600s when we were brought over here on slave ships. That's where our heritage starts. Nah, we was here. Nobody wants to read the memoirs of Columbus. He specifically told you that there were cities over here. We wasn't living in no teepees and tents and killing people and all these other things. Everybody wasn't eating people and all these things. There was different tribes over here. Why does the Smithsonian cover up all this stuff, all these artifacts that they found in the Grand Canyon, that they find in Utah, that they found in Canada, that they found in Arizona? Why does the Smithsonian is the first one that takes there, and the Catholic Church is the first people that are there, and they take all the artifacts? Because they know that they found you over there. They know they found you right here in America. They found you. They found Egyptians. They found black people. They found Negroes. That they found cities. This is what they found. This is what they're covering up. Why to this day you still can't fly over certain parts of the Grand Canyon? Because they're covering all these. Why are there more pyramids over here in the Americas than there are anywhere else in the world? Because this was the original world. This was the third part that he separated the lands and he gave to Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Japheth, he gave the cold lands. Ham, he gave the hot lands. And Shem, he gave the hot and cold lands. This is the reason why we don't know who we are, because we don't know how to tie this junk back. Ask your local pastor to tie it back in. Ask your local pastor to tie in the quote-unquote gap theory that they talk about when the dinosaurs were here. Ask them to tie that in. And I bet you they don't tie it in correctly. Because there's more than just these 66 books that the Catholic Church has given you. There's more to this thing. There's more to history that they show you. It's their history. It's his story, but it ain't my story. It's not what they taught us. This is what they taught you in school. The first thing they did was indoctrinated you. And then when they brought you over here on slave ships, when they captured you and they enslaved the indigenous people that were here, they cut you off from their heritage and they sold your land and they started to move you to the West. So Kanye was right, but he just didn't know how to articulate it. This is the reason why they're burying people right now. This is the reason. So why is it so wrong for us to be the real Jews? Why can't I have a bloodline? I dare you to trace back the Khazarians. And right now they're actually wiping the internet clean of the Khazarians so you don't know who they are. Why they never taught you that in your history books? Who King Bulan was. Who the Ashkenazi Jews were. And where they came from. Russian, Romanian, Poland. Why did they never do this? Why did they never teach you about who the Khazarian Empire was? One of the greatest empires that was there, and they never taught you about that. They never told you who these people were. You never even heard of them in your history books and what they taught you in your high schools. They did this on purpose to hide you. This is the reason why. So who's right and who's wrong? This is the reason why. Because they were confederate against you. It said they have consulted together with one consent that they are confederate against you. That they come together and cut them off of being a nation. They can't, all these countries and all these bloodlines have cut you off because they knew who you were. We the only people that don't know who we are. Ask any of your other ethnic friends where they come from. And I guarantee you, we come from Italy. We come from Poland. We come from Ireland. Even the Africans know who they are. I'm Nigerian. I'm South African. I'm this. I'm that. But the Negroes of America are the only people on the face of the earth that have no clue who we are. We have no ties. We have no country. We have no land. Black is a color. That's not a nationality. African American is 2 continents. That's not a nationality. That's 2 continents. Colored. Mulatto. Look at these censuses that are going around right now. This is the same thing they did then, and they're doing it, and they did it back then. They did these censuses, and they mislabeled you. They mislabeled who you were. And they made them, they said, we will kill you and your family if you don't put Negro on here instead of indigenous. Or Indian. This is the reason why we have no clue who we are and why our communities are the way they are. Ask your local pastor to tie this in and start teaching this Bible properly and go into these other books that they gave you. There's plenty of books, other books out there. That's why I don't use the Bible anymore to prove anything. I use history, the real history, not the lies that they told us. This is the reason why Kyrie said, if you want to hide anything from a black person, put it in the book. Because we haven't read, and we only read what they gave us. We never went in and dug into these other books. I dare you to go find the 13th tribe. I dare you to go find it. Dare you to go find it. And you wonder why your communities are the way they are. Because they've been hiding you ever since. Over 400, 500, 600, 700 years. Go back to all the maps and see what's on these maps. What's up, my brother? Go back to all these maps. Go back to just the 1500. Just the 1500. California was an island. And look at all the names they changed. They were indigenous names and they were Hebrew names. Look at all the artifacts that they're digging up right over here in America. Come on, man. We got to get this thing right and understand this is the reason why we can't come together, because they separated us on purpose. Our communities are the way they are because we have no ties to who we are. We don't know where we come from. We've been thinking we've been African, I don't know for how long. And I'm not saying every black person is African. I'm not saying that. Or every melanated person is African. I'm not saying that. But I am saying this. Try to retrace your heritage. And I bet you 99% of y'all ain't from Africa. I bet you from right here. I guarantee you. Start tracing. Ask your grandmother. Ask your great grandmother. Start digging into your history. And you might have to pay a little bit of money to find out where you come from and who you are. They've been hiding you. They've been lying to you, I don't know for how long. They've been doing this on purpose. This is the reason why our communities are the way they are. Ask your local preachers and your local pastors why they're so quiet on this issue. Because half of them got their hands in these people's pockets. They work for the government and they work for all these people. And they won't tell you the truth because it's going to mess their money up. Ask them why they can't tie you together and tie you to this book. Ask them to explain this gap theory thing. Ask them to explain Atlantis to you. Ask them to explain all these things. Ask them to explain the Mississippi River and why these lands over in whether called Africa that they call over there don't match up with what the Bible says. Ask them. There's more than what these 66 books that they gave you. The Roman Catholic people did that. And don't give me this crap about the Council of Nicaea in the 300 BCs. This junk was done way before that. Start tracing this thing back and start seeing what's real and what's not real. They never tied you to this book because they put a white Jesus, white hair, white face, blue eyes, blonde haired Jesus in front of you. And you never knew who you was because you never saw yourself. I am black and comely. I'm dark like the land. I'm burnt from the sun. These are scriptures that's telling you who they were and what they look like. Hair curly like wool. Come on, man. Adam, the name Adam actually means, when you break the word name Adam down, it means dark soil. It means red soil. Every black person has a red hue to their face. Brown is a color of red. It's a part of red. We have a red hue to us. That's why there's different colors of brown. Caramel, light skin, dark skin. It's a color. Because we come from the ground. Why ain't your local preacher telling you this? They just getting you all happy to give y'all that. It ain't just, and I'm not saying all of them. It's not everybody. I'm not saying that. But this is the reason, if we don't know our history, it says the people will perish because of lack of knowledge. We don't have a vision. What knowledge is he talking? It's true knowledge. It's true knowledge. The knowledge of the truth, not just any kind of knowledge that they gave you. We perish because of the lack of the true knowledge. Not just any kind of old, scary old knowledge that they taught you in schools. This is the true knowledge that they gave you. And this is what Kyrie's trying to open your eyes to. Everything what you taught and everything what was taught to you and what you learned is false. It has a spin on it. It's called replacement theology. They erased you and then colored their self in it. Go back and look at all these pictures go back to the first century. Second, go back to these things and look at yourself and see you were in these pictures, not them. What do you think the Renaissance was? They started coloring everything from black to white or lightening up the skin of all these old pictures. You can go to Turkey. You can go to Russia. You can go to Romania. And all these old pictures were black people. Going back to the first century. So who's right? Is it the Jews? Is it the Christians? Is it the Muslims? Is it the Catholics? Is it the Baptists? Is it the Pentecostal? Who's right? We've been separated from our own history for so long, we have no idea who we are. And I waited purposely to let all this stuff come to a boil. And now it's time to pop the lid off this junk and let the aroma just hit the room. Remember when your mom had that roast in the crock pot And she let it boil all day, real slow, simmering. And the lid start bubbling, and you hear the clink, clink. And then she pull that lid off and stir it, and you smell it. That's what's happening right now. We're learning our true history right now. This is what we're learning. I dare you to go to Amazon right now and go pick the book up. Hebrews to Negroes. We went backwards. This is the reason why they tell us that we're Hamites and that we're cursed. This is the reason why they told you this. Because they didn't want to let you know who you were. This is the reason why they erased you out of every history book. Because they didn't want you to know who you were. This is the reason. So who's right? So why haven't the black preacher ever tied you back into this thing? Because they were taught by the same people that taught you history, that taught you in your schools, by the same seminaries. I call them cemeteries. These are the same people that the oppressor or the colonizer taught them religion, taught them history. This is the reason why they can't. So you got doctorates in things that is false knowledge. So you can have all the collars on and you can have all these doctorate degrees and think you know everything and you can teach theology and all this stuff that you can teach. But all these years, over 40, 50, 60, 70 years, you still haven't brought your community out of the pits of degradation. You still haven't lifted your communities up. The only thing we own in these communities are hair shops, couple food shops, barber shops, and churches. We don't own no businesses. The Indians got that. The Chinese people got that. The Arabs got that. The only thing we got is churches. So is it the churches that are bad? Is it the word that we preaching is bad? Why in every community you got a church on every corner, but your churches are still the way they are? Tell me that. One person tell me that. You can't change one family? You can't change one person? There's crackheads walking all over the place. Drug dealers walking all over the place. People getting killed all over the place. Over your neighborhood with churches everywhere. And just like the Pharisee stepped right over them on the road to Samaria. Stepped right over them. Walk past them every day and we do nothing. And you wonder why our communities are like this. Because our churches are the same way. Because our preachers got our hands in the pocket that got our foot on our neck. This is the same thing that Martin Luther King was dealing with. And you're right. Because they got their hands in their pocket. And it's going to mess their money up, so they're going to keep preaching the same word. Martin Luther King dealt with the same thing. He had to fight the preachers. And they said, oh, bro, don't stir up the pot up. We living good here. Don't mess us up. Master going to get us. He was trying. And then he realized that he brought his own people into a burning building when he brought down the walls of segregation. Instead of bringing down segregation, what he should have did was kept us segregated, but still asked for equal opportunities. This is the reason our communities are the same way. This is why Kyrie's trying to wake y'all up. What happens if 30% of the black athletes walk off the field and boycott? How much money would they lose? What happens if we boycott one store in our local neighborhood? Say you got Food Town and ShopRite, and we pick one store that we shop at. We go to one store and say, you know what? If you treat us right, we'll shop at your store and we'll never shop at this other store. You don't understand how much power you got. And this is the reason why they always keep us separated and always keep us arguing. And they put one fool out in front of the masses and make him think that he's a spokesperson for everybody. He's just learning about this, and then he's starting to spit knowledge because he's famous, but then he don't know how to do it. That's why he looks like a fool. And then he ended up losing billions of dollars because he don't know how to articulate himself. This is the reason. We must start tying ourselves back to who we are. This is why Kyrie's trying to wake everybody up. I purposely waited to say something because I'm tired. And we got these elections coming up. These are the ones that count, your local elections, because they're the ones that's going to physically tap into your pockets or really affect your people or your school and what they learning and what agenda they teaching your kids and how much more indoctrination they going to do for you. When we going to wake up and start reading for ourselves and finding out this knowledge for ourselves? Is there any truth to this thing? Is there any truth to what Kyrie said? Is there 1 ounce of this truth? Can we be the true Hebrews? Is it me who they're talking about in this book? Is it me? Could it be us? This is the reason why they cut you off. This is the reason when you read Psalms 83, why they say they have cut you off and conspired against you. And to cut you off that you would never be a nation. The first thing they did was change your name, first and last name. What's your name, boy? Kunta Kinte. No, it's Toby. This is what they're doing to Kyrie right now. Who's your boss? I'm my own boss. I'm a millionaire. Nah, we billionaires up here. You might be rich, but we wealthy. And we own this thing. We own the team. We own the media. We own Nike. We own all these things. And we can cut you off. Anytime we feel like it, we can cut you off when we want to cut you off. So get back in line, little boy. They made you think that you was nobody. They made you think that you was nobody. They made you think that you just came from slaves. And your history just starts at 1600. And there's no other history before then. And they teach the whole world the same thing. So this is why everybody doesn't understand. You, white people, your teachers, nobody understands who you are because this is what they were taught. And they indoctrinate you since you were little. What's the first thing you see when you walk into school? You see a globe and you see the alphabet up top. That's the first sign of indoctrination. Get in line and sit at these desks. They indoctrinate you. So why haven't your local teacher, your local preacher taught you this, or your local church taught you this of who you were? Oh, it'll be all better in the by and by. When you get to heaven. When you get to heaven, it'll be okay. Come on, man. How's this thing right now? Who am I right now? The church has failed all of us. But now it's time to get back on board and start teaching this thing properly. Yeah, some of us are waking up. Yeah, some of us will start celebrating the Sabbath. Some of us are starting to say, shalom and shalom, my brother. Some of us are starting to use the name Yahweh and Yahushai and Yahuwah and Yeshua. Yoah. Some people are starting to use this name now. Some people are starting to catch on. But we still don't know the magnitude of who we really are. We're still not catching this whole thing. We're still not catching this thing. And why our communities are the way they are. Because they lied to you. And they conspired against you to cut you off, that the name of Israel would never be spoken again and you would never know who you are. All these nations have conspired against you. People that look like us, they conspired against us. They conspired against this. And they wanted you to, they didn't never wanted you to know that you were the true people. Now we know why. Now we know why. Because then we start to get up. Then we start acting the way we're acting. Then we stop drinking ourselves to oblivion and smoking ourselves to death. Then we start realizing that we got a purpose in this world. Then we start realizing that we're different from other people. Why they steal your culture, why they take everything from you, why they want to dance like you, why they want to sing like you, why they want to dress like you, why they want to walk like you, why they want to talk like you, why we dominate everything. Because you built this thing, you did this thing. This is the reason why. This is the reason why. Our brother is trying to wake us up. But y'all tore him down when he just says, I refuse, I'm not taking the vaccine, bro. This is my choice for health reasons. Forget basketball. Now that you see they're trying to crucify this brother, now is it bigger than basketball? But the vaccine wasn't bigger than basketball, but this is bigger than basketball. He let his teammates down. But now is his teammates coming to his defense? Or are they letting him down now? Oh. Now it's turned around. Now they crucifying Kyrie. Oh, they crucified him when he didn't want to take the vaccine. And his teammates threw him under the bus. He signed the contract. They signed the contract. Ask him with anything about what is anti-Semitism? Have you ever looked it up? Why is anti-Semitism the number one fad right now when you look up on Google? This is the new fad right now that everybody's looking up. It's moved to the top of the list, anti-Semitism. This is trending right now, anti-Semitism. A lot of people haven't seen this side of me, but you wonder why I'm reserved the way I am sometimes. I don't let everybody read me and let them see every single side of me. And we wonder why our communities are the way they are. We need to be going to our pastors right now and saying, why haven't you taught us this? Why didn't I know that was me? Why didn't I know I wasn't from one of these tribes? Why didn't you tell me this? Because I wouldn't have been acting a fool like that if I knew I was the chosen people. This is the reason why they're mad. Because they know you're waking up and you're finding out. And once you start waking up, people start coming together and be like, you know what, brother? You start encouraging somebody. Sister, don't do that. Brother, don't do that. Wonder why they bombed all the black Wall Streets. It was more than just Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was hundreds of cities that they bombed. Just look it up. Look it up for yourself and find out why. Find out why. Every time we come together, they tear us down. We build another city, they tear us down. Because we worried about that paper. We worried about that bag. We worried about everything. And I know sometimes I got to be careful for what I say. Because I know where I work and I know what I do. It's hard. That's why I'm not getting on them for apologizing. When Nick Cannon said what he said, and he was telling the 100% truth, and then he apologized. I get it. Because now he got all them babies to feed. But I have more, I got bills to pay. So I understand. If my livelihood was taken from me, I'd be out. So I get it. So I'm not condemning them for going back and apologizing. I'm not, because I know it's hard. And they take your money from you and cut you off. I get it. But why hasn't your local preacher taught you this? Ask that. Why have they never tied you back to history? Why aren't they going after Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, that this book and this movie is sold on? Why aren't they going after them? Tell me that. You're going after a person that posted it, but you're not going after the entity that is spreading it. And now this book is rising on the list of Amazon books. It's climbing the list again. Look how old this book is. Look how old this documentary is. This thing is old. I watched this thing years ago. I watched it years ago. And now his book is starting to climb again. Because Kyrie has brought some attention to this thing. He has a platform. But why aren't they going after Jeff Bezos? It's a public platform. They ain't going after him. They sell it on Amazon. And they're not going after Jeff Bezos. And the reason why they're going after him, because Kyrie's unlearning fake history and he's learning new or correct history. He's unlearning what he learned. That's why he said, you wasn't there when I was little and I found out that I got 300 million ancestors buried over here. You wasn't here? Yes, it's on the bestsellers list now. In a matter of weeks, everybody's ordering this movie and buying this book. He's unlearning history, his story. He's unlearning his story, and now he's learning his story. Our story. The roots of where you come from and who you are. This is the reason why they're crucifying this brother, because they don't want more people to keep finding out. And don't get this thing mixed up with all the black, everybody, it got bad and good and bad groups and all these things. There's good and bad black Hebrew Israelites and all these things. But I dare you to look up the word anti-Semitism. They told you were Hamites. We're Semites. We're from Shem. That's what it is called. Anti-Shemitism. Semitism. Coming from Shem. Bloodlines. There were three dudes that came up off that and repopulated and spread out over this earth. And we come from the Shemite bloodline, not the Hamite bloodline. And Africans over on the continent of Africa will tell you that we are not the same people. That's why they sold you. That's why they sent you over to here. That's why they conspired together that you read in Psalms 83. That they all came together and conspired together. The Africans were some of the people too. That's why when you look at this crazy movie, the Woman King, the Dahomey tribe, they was the number one people that was selling the Igbo people and the black people and sending them over here. And conspired with the French. They conspired against you to cut you off as a people that you would never know who you are. Your language and your name, your heritage, everything. They told us we came from slaves and we had no history before the 1600s. History told us that all tribes in the so-called New World were savages. We weren't. They found cities over here. And I'm putting this, I'm documenting this also. That's why I'm recording this. I'm putting this on here on purpose just so we can go back and look at this thing and find out that Kyrie did nothing wrong. That he told no lies. He committed no crimes. He didn't hurt anybody. They're hurt because now they're finding out the truth. That's why they're hurt. And they throw around this anti-Semitism so far, and people don't even know what it is. And if they took you to court, they couldn't legally bind you to anti-Semitism because of it's so vague of how they throw it around all the time. Why does the Smithsonian cover up all the Hebrew and Egyptian artifacts across America that they find here? What is anti-Semitism? We went over that. And I'm just going to run through this real quick because I'm almost done. History has misled us about the melanated people all over the world. All over this world. From African to indigenous to black. Look up black nobility in Europe. Look that up. Why is everybody white over there now? Look at the queen that just died, that just colonized everybody under her rule and her grandfather's rules. Look in their bloodline and find out where you won't see another black Queen Elizabeth and other black nobility. Most of them were Moors. Some of them were. Why the King James Bible? Why did King James come over here in 1608? And then 3 years later, yes, they were. They were Gentiles. They're from Ham and Japheth. I forgot the son. Forgot the name of the other son that's their son or that's their brother. That's why they put these bloodlines in the Bible like that. It's a track record. They put that in there on purpose. So you can go back and look up these bloodlines and trace them back, that they changed the names, they changed lands, they changed cities, they changed the names of rivers. They changed the name on purpose. I dare you to find out what the word Mississippi means. I dare you to find out what the word Nile means. It doesn't mean great river. The Euphrates is the great river. Niles were offshoots of the great rivers. They were tributaries of the great river. That's what the word Nile means. The Nile River isn't a great river. They changed that. That's one of the words in the river. That's one of the words or names in the Bible that they changed, was the Nile River. Ethiopia used to be the whole land. Sons of Gomer. You know you be up on that. But that's why they changed the names of these rivers, so you can never trace your name back. The Mississippi is the Euphrates River. That's the great river. That's the only river that reaches from the north all the way to the south hemisphere. The Euphrates over there in Africa doesn't do that. And there's no evidence that those other rivers dried up anywhere. And the reason why, because the land used to be one landmass. So it was a great river. So once the land started to separate, they turned to oceans. Why ain't your local preacher taught you that? Because they got you shouting and jumping around and playing music and worried about the by and by. But they never tied you to who you were. They never tied you to who you were. This is the reason why. They changed the name of the Nile River so you would never know what the true Euphrates River is, the great river. And where the Gishon and the Pishon and all these other rivers were that they're talking about Eden and where it came from. They'll never find it because this is when it was all Pangea and there was all together. You'll never find it. Kyrie said, where were you when I was a kid learning lies about world history? Displaced Negroes are the only people on earth that have no idea of who they are and where they come from. We the only people. I dare you to read Deuteronomy 28 and see who other fit that description but you. I dare you. And why they skip over this? This is the whole system that he's trying to expose and dismantle. This is the reason why he's doing this, because he's trying to expose with the lies that they taught you. They're trying to unravel what they raveled. They tied knots in your head so you can't think straight. And he's unraveling them knots. Have you ever took a knot out of your shoelace? Look how hard you got to go in there and get your fingernails and try to take it out. How hard is it? Most of the time you just get mad and then retie it again anyway. You don't even take the knot out because it's so hard to take out. This is what Kyrie's doing. He's unlearning what he learned. He's unraveling those knots that he put in his head so now he can think straight. And he can tie his shoes properly so he doesn't trip up. He's untying all the indoctrination that they've given you. Find this stuff out for yourself. This is the reason why. And I'm not saying all the information is accurate, because there's two different things. There's an African theory and then there's a North and South American theory. But they're both together. They're both together. So you got to find out how much they lied to you. They kept lying and lying and lying to you. If most of us knew who we were, we wouldn't do the things that we're doing. The communities wouldn't be the way they are. If I knew that I was quote unquote royalty, or I was part of a certain family that were billionaires and had a lot of money, I would act different. I would have a different swag. I would walk in places different. I won't walk in the same stores because I know I can afford other things. I can go into certain dealerships that I couldn't go into before because I got bank now, because I belong to a whole new family. I found out that I'm a billionaire. If I found out that I belong to a billionaire family, I would act different. I would carry myself different. This is the reason why we act the way we act, because we don't know that we're royalty. We don't know where we came from. We don't know that we're the true people of the Most High. We don't know that we were created in His image. In His image. Not the image that they taught you of Caesar Borgia, the white gay dude that they put up on your fans in black churches that we looked in the 50s, 60s, and 70s and were fanning ourselves with. Look this crap up. Look this crap up. This is the reason why I'm done, y'all, but this is the reason why we have no clue who we are, and the reason why communities are the way they are, because we have no clue who we are. This is the reason why. This is the reason why. Because we don't know where we come from. We are the only people on the face of the earth that have no clue who we are. No clue. Where you come from? I'm from Tinton Falls. Where your grandparents come from? They from Mattawan. Where his parents come from? They came from Georgia. Where his parents come from? But I bet you ask the Italians, they can say, I'm from Italy. Or I'm from Sicily. And then on somebody's side, one or another, they came from Ethiopia. I bet you ask the Irish, I'm from Ireland. All the way back to my great-great-great-grandfather. They'll trace it right back. Everybody knows who we are, who they are but us. Everybody else can trace their heritage back but us. And then we try to do these DNA tests so we can find out who we are. And then we know that they're scamming us. We find out that they're scamming us. Then we got all these other bloodlines in us. And it's not true. We are the only people that have no clue who we are. And they've been lying to us. And this is what Kyrie's exposing. This is why they're crucifying us. Because once we find out, we're going to start acting different. Maybe we might start changing the radio station and start acting different. And then our teenage girls won't be listening to all these people and start having babies. Our communities will start changing. And our boys will stop becoming fathers at the age of 16 and 15. And they're not ready to become fathers yet. They're not even men yet. This is the reason they pump this stuff into your community. So you can be over-sexualized. To mess your life up at an early age. So you can mess your life up before it gets started. It's out of order. We've been out of order for so long and we're messed up. But now we're starting to wake up and we're starting to come back and get our dignity back. Now we're starting to wonder, man, if I knew that I was made in the image of God, if I knew that He looked like me, go look at, I think it's in Ezekiel or Zechariah where he's seen the Ancient of Days and what he looked like. Said that he had a hair of curly hair. The one that, just go look at this stuff, man. All the old artifacts that you can find in Turkey. The apostles and all these people look like you. They lied to you. Just so you would never know who you are. And never find out who you are. We own nothing in our communities. But we go to these same local churches for the past 50, 60, 70 years. And only a select few is doing good. Something wrong with that. Something dead wrong with that. Dead wrong. Dead wrong. You're the only one that get to prosper. You're the only one that your kids get to go to college. Paul says, I work day and night that this gospel won't be chargeable to you. And I can preach what I can preach on my own. And you can't curtail what I say. He says, I got a job. Me and my boys work. I make tents. I make nets, fishing nets. Me and my boys fish. We get our own food. You ain't got to pay me. And I'm not saying don't pay your, don't help your pastors out and don't preach, because there are some good ones out there. I'm not saying that. But we better start going back into our community and helping them a lot more than what we're doing now. A lot more. A lot more. This junk is crazy. It's crazy that we own nothing in our own community. And we spend all this money. Spend all this money in your community. And we don't own jack. A few of us own houses. It's crazy. I'm done. I just want to just document this and give my little spin on this whole Kyrie thing, that he did nothing wrong and he said nothing wrong. You are the people of the book. You are the people. You are the bloodline. I dare you to go pick this book up. And I hope you go tell people about what was said. Not just because it's me or anything. Just tell them to go look at it and see the facts. And then go look up these facts. Who these Ashkenazi Jews are. Who these Khazarians are. Where they come from. Why they were expelled out of 127 countries before they got to Germany. Look that up. What did Hitler really say? I'm not trying to go to Facebook jail, so I'm not going to actually say a lot of things. But go look up what he really said. Why they got kicked out of 127 countries before they got to Germany. Why don't they teach you that? Go look this up. And we saying I stand over hate, and I'm standing over this, and I'm standing over that. But you don't even know what you're standing for, because you never even watched the video. You never even read the book. You never even looked up any of this thing. You never even understand who you really were. You never even, a lot of Spanish people don't even understand why they speak Spanish. Because Spain is on the other side of the world. It's on the other side of the hemisphere. But if you trace your heritage back, you are Taino Indian. You are not Spanish. You are Taino. Has nothing to do with Spanish. You speak the language of your conqueror. Just like we speak English. This is the reason why we speak English, and the reason why you speak Spanish, and the reason why people speak the way they speak, because we speak the land of our. Why we speaking French over here? French ain't down here. French was over there in a whole other hemisphere of the world. They cut you off from who you were. You were Taino people, which is a cousin of the Aztecs. And the Olmec people. Look all that up. Why are there so many pyramids in South America? More pyramids in South America and in North America than there anywhere else in the world. Why is one of the biggest pyramids in Indonesia and in China? We were everywhere. Everywhere. Before that fake land over there in Egypt. I want you to check that out. Not real. Not real. But I'm done. I just want to just put this on, document this, man, and just put this down and just give you certain key facts of what this thing is really all about. Start holding our people accountable. Yes, we got to police our own. Also, we act the fool, and we need to police our own. Some of our plight is our own. Because we can do better. Now we know better, we can do better. We don't have to act like this, man. They put you in a box, but you ain't got to stay there. Sometimes you outgrow that box, but you keep choosing to climb back in the box. You ain't got to do that, bro. You ain't got to do that, sis. You bigger than that. You better than that. You're worth more than that. Worth a lot more than that. Don't have to do this, man. They put you in a box. And we choose to stay there. Because we have no idea who we are. And we are clueless who we are. Clueless. Because they lied to you. And told you that you were slaves. Told you that you were nobody. But they don't know you come from a good stock. Good stock. That's who you are. A royal priesthood, a prestigious people. This is the reason why. All right, my brother. This is the reason why. We have no clue. We have no clue who we are. I'm done. But I implore you to go back and watch this. I implore you to go back and look this stuff up of what Kyrie's talking about. What he's really talking about. You are the people of the book. You are the reason why they're hiding this stuff from you. This is why they don't want to tell you. This is why they never told you who you were. Go look this stuff up. I dare you to go buy the book or go watch the movie. I dare you. And if that doesn't open or intrigue you who you are and start finding out some lies and then go look up another lie and go find out and unturn another stone and unturn another one. And then eventually once you unturn all these stones, you're going to realize there ain't no wall there no more. And you can see clearly. They built a wall up in front of you on purpose so you'll never get back to who you was. Trace your bloodline back and find out that where you come from. This is the reason why they did this. And we wonder why our communities are the way they are because they lied to you. They lied to all of us. And they taught you and told you that you was nothing. I'm done. Go look this stuff up. Go look it up. Go look it up. God bless.